All right, and we're back. I do apologize for the earlier situation. We lost power in my apartment. Well, the entire apartment lost power, so I couldn't come back. And I'm really hoping that the autosave still worked. I think it did. We didn't do much. We just went to the Martyr's Endurance, or as they call Adeptus Amosecus. So yeah, we'll pick up where we left off. So once again, to just reiterate, I am doing this playthrough for the sake of voice acting lines. That's why I play the game. Because I've played this game like, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 times. I've finished it every single time.
I can imagine is floating in the air.
Now I'm playing the game purely for the sake of the voice acting. So my characters will be overpowered. They will have the best equipment at all times. I already have max reputation with all the various merchants. I have my skills, like my social ability skills for my character are through the roof. That's why you see tech use is 100%. So I want to be very clear that my playthrough is not indicative of an actual playthrough through Rogue Trader. This is just me doing this to practice my voice acting skills. Or lack thereof. So, grain of salt with my performances. I'm here for the performance, nothing else.
We'll see. Oh, yes, indeed. They all will see.
Everyone's a bit nonchalant about that one, but okay.
Oh, one step at a time amidst the madness.
Ryza. The woman looks to be in her 40s. She's surveying you with interest. Her right eye appears almost black against her dusky skin, while her left eye emits a greenish light filtered through a smudged lens of a prosthesis. Her arms are tattooed all the way from the base of her shoulders to her knuckles. You look for something specific? You buying or maybe selling? Don't be shy, just ask. Well, Ryza knows all kinds of folks. My boys will fetch you anything your heart desires. Well then, let's see what you have to offer. Hmm. Just we can give that to what's her face? Give that to Argenta. We're not from a death world, unfortunately. Do that to Abelard.
lies beyond.
Rough day?
You have no idea.
I just might. That's the second bottle you've downed.
Jai Hidari. Falco sends his regards.
And what does that unholy scion of a Grox and a Brahan want from me this time? Oh, wait, I don't really care. My sole plans for tonight are drowning my grief in a sea of Amasak.
We'll give you grief, all right. Get out!
Don't think so, Ashmag. And tell Falco to come himself next time.
Hidari, I am tired of your mess. Out! Get some sleep. We'll talk about settling up later.
Okti Shireen, light of my eyes. Can't you see my soul is full of sadness? Have you no heart at all? Let go of your material concerns and let me grieve in peace. Have we met somewhere before?
The woman looks at you with the glassy eyes of a drunk, and you notice 2 empty bottles that had kept in her company before you arrived. She looks completely out of place in this dinky, smoky bar. The fancy attire, the abundance of jewelry, the implants plated with precious metals. Her appearance not only screams wealth, but also audacity. For only an audacious person would flaunt their wealth in a place like this.
Greetings, Shireen. With whom do I have the honor of speaking?
She smiles somewhat groggily as she examines you of the glass that is raised to her lips. Rogue trader Nero von Valancius.
Von Valancius. My deepest, humblest regards, your lordship. I never would have imagined I'd be standing at the bar, in the Amasekus, next to an honest-to-God Emperor Rogue trader. Jai Hidari at your service. Professional trader, shrewd commercial broker, and, may he steal my tongue if I'm lying, the most honest dealer on footfall. Nonetheless, we all have our problems, and at times even one's many merits aren't enough to solve them. Perhaps it would be no trouble for a person with your kind of power and standing to assist someone with my kind of predicament.
I don't know what her accent is. Where it's from, nothing.
I have heard a great deal about how open-minded the members of the von Valancius dynasty are, and Lady Theodora especially.
What kind of cargo was stolen from you?
Goods of incredible rarity, Shireen. But it's not just that. 24 of my people lost their lives in the impenetrable emptiness of the void to acquire them. I cannot leave their families with nothing.
Ordinary smugglers do not dress so ostentatiously or behave so brazenly, and they are unlikely to spoil the mood of the leisure footfall with their mere appearance. This woman lost many people to obtain these rarest of goods, and to get them back, she turned to Vladimir Tokara, the patron of coal trade in the Expanse. Her cargo can be nothing other than Xeno artifacts, creations of the enemies of humanity, branded with heresy. Are you asking Upstanding Citizen to be party to the trafficking of Xeno artifacts?
I thought we were on the same page from the start, Shireen. Please accept my sincerest apologies if that is not the case, and allow me to explain myself. If I had told you directly, you would have become, shall we say, complicit. But since those illicit words did not escape my lips, you would hypothetically be agreeing merely to help me recapture a few containers. And if the Aji suddenly decided to thwart our plans, then all the Void Dogs would be unleashed on me alone. My sincerest wish was to protect you from any unnecessary trouble, Shireen. I swear, by the Exalted One. Ask as many as you wish, Shireen. You see, Shireen, there's one cardinal rule on footfall. Anything goes as long as it doesn't get in the way of business. I'm someone who's been able to exploit that rule to the fullest. And in recent years, I've hit it so big, I've become a speck of sand in someone's green eye. They used to throw small wrenches into my dealings here and there. Well, now they've decided to really put their backs into it. Some rats stolen my cargo and dragged it off to the seediest part of the Shadow Quarters. A crummy place even for connoisseurs of Footfall's unique atmosphere. When I asked the Liege for protection, we had a mutual misunderstanding. I believe Vladimir, in a most lamentable fashion, has forgotten his duties as guardian of the downtrodden and wronged. So I'm in desperate need of a new one. And you, Shireen, fit the bill perfectly. All I need is for you to drop by one dark corner of Footfall's shadow quarters and pound it into the thieves' heads that taking Haydari's property carries certain risks.
Jay appears to be a serious operator on Footfall. The Legion's refusal to help means there's a loss of a potential ally. So Jay is encroaching on his turf. If Vladimir is not responsible for the disappearance of Jay's cargo, he will certainly benefit greatly from it. Well, if the Legion look these duties, I shall become your patron.
May the Exalted One bless you and your progeny. Then here's what we'll do. We shouldn't be seen together before we make it to the safe house. I'll head there first. I'll take my own special route so I won't be spotted. Right. Here. That's where those ashmags are keeping the stolen cargo. Out the bar, over the bridge, and to the left. There in the depths you'll find a small courtyard, through which you can get to the place. I'll be waiting nearby. You can come when it suits you, but the sooner you do, the better. I'll see you then, Shireen.
The burly woman with the wealth of fiery hair is in the process of tinkering with some unknown device that is clicking melodiously. There's a rough-looking implant in place of her lower jaw. As you approach, the implant begins to move as if independently the rest of her face. Welcome to the Adeptus Amasek, sir. What can Octaviana get you? Amasek? Low? Something more interesting? I guess. Oh! Octaviana freezes in place. It can't be. Are you Sister Argenta? The Sister Argenta. The one who has the worst scum of Footfall shaking in their boots? The whole station's talking about you, and here you are in the flesh, in our humble Amasekis. Argenta stops Octaviana's torrent of adoration with a calm gesture. No more. I seek retribution against transgressors, not glory for myself. Despite her words, you catch a glint in Argenta's eyes. You can tell she's enjoying this enraptured attention. Octaviana's expression changes dramatically when she sees Cabela. You there! You should know that if I see one dead body around here, I'll have you thrown out of my bar with a hole in your head. Your kind don't scare me, and I'm not about to let you ruin my business by leaving corpses all over the room. Your being is already making half my clients feel less thirsty. I have heard your threat. Do not fear. If I must kill someone here, you will not find the bodies. What is this place? You're in the oldest watering hole here on Footfall, sir. The Adeptus Amasekis is the only Adeptus one can find on Footfall. She laughs hoarsely. I'm Octaviana. I serve drinks, lend a year. When it comes down to it, quiet the rowdy ones. She sizes you up carefully. Folks usually come to the Amasekis for either pleasure or business. Might I ask what brought you here? It's been one thing after another lately. I figured I was due for some me time. Give me a splash of the local hooch, would you? Octavia looks at you closely and then takes a bottle from the shelf and uncorks it. Transparent punch and smelling liquid quickly fills the glass and sits between you. Pascal's respirator hisses quietly as he says in an insinuating tone, "The alchemical composition of this substance is known to me, but never before have I come across such an unusual application. Exquisite path of martyrdom is in the honor of the Messiah. Honor of the Omnissiah." Take a good look at it. The glass contains a liquid that is clearly made from spent promethium. This is moonshine, virtually unfiltered, that quickly blows the drinker off their feet and when imbibed regularly, turns their liver into a bubbling sponge. Go on, that. Once inside your mouth, the drink seems to turn to acid. The liquid sticks to the lining of your throat and tries to burn right through it. You cough violently, covering your burning mouth, leaving a few drops of blood on your sleeve. Octavian looks at you worried. Throne have mercy. Are you all right, sir? You shouldn't have ordered the octane blend. I've got something else set aside for folks with more refined palate. Octaviana grabs a dusty, unopened bottle from under the bar and a clean glass. The amber liquid splashes against crystal walls and she adds a couple of black pebbles. The soft, spicy aroma tickles your nostrils. The Amasek warms your throat pleasantly. You can make out a hint of spice, the flavor of oak barrel, and the distinctly earthy aroma. You feel a little more at peace and you reach the bottom of the glass sooner than you'd like. Odd name, Adeptus Amazekis. Not very reverent. Octaviana chuckles. And what makes you say that? Did you know where you're standing? On the deck of the Martyr's Endurance, a sacred vessel that once belonged to the Adeptus Administratum. 100 years ago, the bureaucrats had a mission here to establish a department, set up some kind of record keeping, overhaul footfall, and make everything here follow 1 billion laws to the letter. As you can see, it was the Martyr's Endurance and inhabitants that got overhauled in the end. I don't know what happened to them, but the locals like to come here and make deals and count their money like before in this temple of the IMPERIUM's accountants. Over there you can even see a sign that's been preserved. Partially. A great place, and a new name fits it perfectly. You like it? I'm flattered. It's not often we get important visitors here, and even less often, I really appreciate the place. About that woman who started the gunfight up at the bar. Why are you so interested? Looking into her or something? Octavia catches herself upon meeting your gaze and bows her head low. Apologies, sir. Me and my big mouth. I guess this is why they broke my jaw so many times. She touches her implant. Octaviana drops her voice. Jay. You know. Jay's pretty great. She's made a name for herself here on Footfall. She's a woman who came from nothing. She follows the unwritten rules of this place. She doesn't walk all over the weaker folks. And she drinks like a fish to boot. A lot of respect. The sad thing is, it looks like she's got on the wrong side of Latin. And since both of them, well, I guess 3 of us, have ties to the Caspalica, there's no way out of this. Jay should get out of Footfall while she can. Better to lose her business than her life. Now, how are things here on Footfall? Life's better than ever, thanks to you. At least it is if you can stand up for yourself and you're useful to Vladimir. I guess that's what you wanted to hear. You were hoping I'd say the supplies have found their way to the empty bellies of the hungry and all that is right with the world, yes? But let's not be realistic. Let's be realistic. Who's the food going to first? That's right, not the poor, starving folk, but the people with the heaviest pockets and the loudest guns. Whoever's got their asses perched high on the pole, or who knows which ass to kiss. Give me the latest. This one might interest you. At TIL, I heard from a tipsy void born from a cargo barge. They exited the warp halfway between Farabundus and the Aviora system and came up upon a shuttle wreck adrift. That was registered to the Inevitable Triumph, a merchant ship that disappeared decades ago. She was bound for Footfall. Her cargo holds brimming with valuable goods, but she never made it. If anything at all survived the shipwreck, it would be quite the lucky find. Another tidbit for you. Some poor sot here was bawling about how his crew tossed out a whole shipment of cargo along with the trash. That was his fault somehow. He hid the fact, and once they docked at Footfall, he immediately went on the run. No surprise there. They had discovered his blunder, he would have been executed. I don't know what kind of cargo it was, but the ship he served on usually goes between Footfall and Winterscale's realm. She passes the 100 Dreams Crossroads and the Langaran's Belt. If you happen by that area, you might want to look for whatever the idiot chucked overboard. That'll do for now. Here's something strong. Octaviana shows you an empty bottle and makes an hapless gesture. Sorry, sir. This was the last bottle of that year. What can I say? We're all feeling the brunt of Footfall shipment problems. I'll be going. Until next time, sir. One second, guys.
My nerves are frayed. There will be no peace in my wake.
Lord Captain, do you think this enterprise is wise? I wouldn't be surprised if this all turns out to be a trap.
I concur with Master Viserion. This place reminds me of the maintenance modules on Urak 5. All the colors are so grubby.
Running binary code.
A dance of blades and shadows. I shall not kill you. Brings me no pleasure. The shadows will...
Cabela's broken, bro. Two, three, five. Thank the Exalted One. Those ash marks didn't have time to make out anything yet. Jay carefully inspires the containers emblazoned with markings from some unknown freight operator. And smiles and touches the com bead in my ear. Give me 2 minutes, Sherry. I shall find the coordinates to my local crew who will deliver my property somewhere safe. And done. Jay removes her hand from my ear and turns to you. We're good. Now, how does one relocate to a more pleasant private space to discuss details of our deal? Specifically, payment for your efforts. I hope your vaunted wisdom is worth all this trouble. Job is about to reply when you hear the sound of many footsteps behind you. So right there at the name of the leash, the gaunt, pale-skinned man in grimly clerical robes glances at you, immediately falls as he reads obsequiously. Your Excellency, please forgive my vehemence. Most noble Nero, I never expected such account of an eminent person in the corner of the footfall. I am Vladimir Tokara's personal agent, the man hesitates, choosing his words carefully. I came here to remove from criminal circulation a shipment, the distribution of which is banned in the lands of Footfall, horrendous zero heresy that has been fraudulently delivered to a bastion of the Holy Imperium. He looks at Jay. I do not doubt for a moment that most noble Nero that your presence here is merely misunderstanding brought on by another's manipulations. This is too convenient. You sense someone has been set up here, but who was the target and who set the trap? This cargo belongs to the Von Valence dynasty. Is Lord Tokara trying to encroach upon the property of a rogue trader? No, your lordship. I beg of you to forgive this wretched serf. A terrible misunderstanding, 1,000 apologies. I won't disturb you further. Jay watches him hurry away and looks at you. I wish I could see Vladimir's face when he finds out you are stepped on the toes of one of the most powerful people in the Expanse. Listen, Nero, I'm genuinely sorry about this confusion. Vladimir and I have had our difficulties, but never thought he would clean me out to do away in some dark corner. At least not so soon. If you had agreed to our deal, Shireen, my gang and I would be floating in orbit around one of Footfall's asteroids. I must give you a choice, heretic. You can atone for your deplorable crimes against the Imperium through service to the House of Von Valencius, or you can die where you stand. Jay shrugs. Every business relationship has its quirks. If you want to call the shots, I don't mind. I'll gladly serve for the good of the Imperium as long as it keeps my head on my shoulders. Dominero, if it's indeed your wish to let this heretic into your retinue, then allow me to carve a vow of service into her tongue. Let the pain prevent her from uttering words of deceit and remind her of obedience. Don't even think about it, you craved Kashka. Unless you want me to add a few extra bits of lead to the metal adornments that sulky mug of yours. Abdal gives you a look of reproach. You sullied the Von Valencius name by inviting people like her into your retinue, Lord Captain. The decision is yours, but do not be surprised if unsavory rumors start to spread on Footfall. Argenta regards Jay. It's a strange circle you are forming around yourself, Rogue Trader. Sister Argenta. Jake gives her a most lecherous once-over. I've heard all about your deeds on Footfall, but I never would have guessed there was an angelic beauty behind all the idle gossip. Either way, I'm entirely willing to join your retinue. From now on, my knowledge and experience are entirely at your disposal. Oh, and one more thing. If you're interested in a rather lucrative offer, one that can give Ron Valency Protectorate a leg up, I'd say now is the time to be thinking about such things. But once you get back to your ship, perhaps we could spare me a minute, Shireen?
What curiosity unveils itself before me? In this tapestry of a world, I am the rogue thread.
Okay. I think I'm gonna reset Cassia.
One step at a time. Amidst the madness.
I do believe we're done here. Yeah, we never did find those. Ah, yeah, refugees. The refugees from Kievagama are looking at you, some with apprehensive frowns, some with unconcealed gratitude. Your Lordship, comes a discordant chorus of voices. I need information. What happened in Kievagama and how did you end up here? We told you everything back in the square. Things are rough on Kievagama. Maybe there isn't a Kievagama anymore. Planet was attacked by a horde of heretics. They shouted unholy prayers and cut down people left and right. We got everything from orbit, listening to one voxcaster after another. We realized there wasn't anyone left to save, so we thought we'd run. But then it was like our crew went mad somehow. The captain smashed his own head against a cogitator, so did half the other officers. Everyone who survived did their best to steer the ship into the warp, and here we are. Only 3 ships made it alive, ours being one of them. We don't know what happened to the other 2. They never made it to Footfall. Maybe they disappeared in the warp. Maybe something else happened to them. What became of the ship that used to get here? It's property of the Von Valencia's dynasty. Apologies, we couldn't save it. The ship was damaged during the escape. We were lucky it got us all the way to Footfall. It's at the far docks, but there isn't much use for it anymore. Doesn't look like anyone's going to fly anywhere, and the local recollegers already removed some of the valuable parts. You can send your people to take apart what's left, scavenge some components. The map of the Expanse was revealed to me before the Sea of Souls roiled and tangled the paths. How did you desperate ones reach the Footfall all the way from the Kranak system without a navigator? Frightened by Cassia's appearance, the refugees covers his face with his hands. Please forgive my worthless words. We were feeling our way back in the dark, you could say. All we had was some old maps. We prayed to the God Emperor day and night while our helmsman plotted the course. A miracle. It must have been your lordship. You were hurling insults and accusations at your masters. That is a sign of treason. And it must be punished accordingly. Do you realize this? One by one, the refugees followed this. Please, have mercy. A few idiots out some things, that's all. We shut them up ourselves already. It was their grief and fear talking. Please don't punish the rest of us for it. Pascal's voice sounds impassive and cold. Which appearing directed at the Adeptus Mechanicus is likewise registered. Denial is meaningless. You are pardoned. You may board my ship and continue to serve the Von Valencia's dynasty. Their eyes beam. Praise be to the Emperor. We're saved and pardoned. We'll do as we're told. We won't say another word. Bowing hastily, the refugees back away from you. A familiar figure turns to you. Heinrich von Kallax, interrogator for the Ordo Xenos, bows his head respectfully. Lord Captain? Honored interrogator, what a surprise. Did you perchance leave something in your cabin? Not at all, First Officer Viserion. I'm not in the habit of leaving a trail, but I thank you for your concern. Greetings, interrogator. To what do I owe the pleasure of this latest visit? Only to our mutual duty to humanity. It is that duty that demands that I disturb your peace once more. I was able to contact my old mentor and report the tragic events that transpired on Reichard Minoris. I also received some information from my agents regarding the movements and actions of the enemies of humanity, including the Xenos that we're assuming were involved in the theft of the star. According to their findings, the threat now hangs over other worlds. This time yours, Lord Captain. Hendrix clears his throat and begins a politely official tone. By the order of Lord Inquisitor Xavier Calcazar, whose duty is to stand sentinel over the Corona's expanse, the rogue trader of House von Valencia is to take aboard the agent of the Most Holy Inquisition and provide escort and support in deeds great and small that serve to safeguard the territories of the Imperium against its enemies. This decree is effective immediately upon announcement and remains in effect until decided otherwise by His Excellency Calcazar. Can't really say no, can I? Hendrik sighs for a moment, then ever so slightly, as if not wanting anyone else to see, shakes his head. Hendrik, would you mind translating the torrent of verbiage you just unleashed upon me? His mouth twists slightly. The Lord Inquisitor has deemed that my presence aboard your ship and in your retinue would be significantly more beneficial to the fight against heresy and evil than my return to my mentor's side. Our parting before our arrival on Footfall was premature. And what exactly caused his need to rejoin my crew? The cause is the activity of humanity's enemies, including the cult of the Final Dawn. In my absence, the situation in the Corona's expanse has changed. I have received an exhaustive report from my agents. This heresy has taken root in regions where the Von Valencia's worlds lie. You probably already know about the fate of the industrial world Kiava Gamma. If not, then I will share what details I know, but not here. Better to talk aboard, where we will not be overheard. Assassin Psycho with an inquisitorial rosette in my retinue? For free, no less. The other rogue traders will be positively green with envy. Not the most common response to the news that I will be constantly breathing down your neck. You aren't wrong, though. I prefer to repay my favors in kind. Assist you by ensuring my work is unobstructed, and I will assist you in return. I must also deliver this to you. Hendrix pulled out a seal letter. Lord Inquisitor specified that the contents of this envelope are for your eyes only. I would ask you to read it as soon as you have time. We do have it now. Oh boy. May the Emperor's faithful forever remain in the light of his favor. Let me first express my condolences on the tragic death of the most honorable Theodora von Valencius. Nevertheless, I was elated to learn that the warrant of the rogue trader has been passed to a worthy and promising heir. These words are not hollow compliments, but rather the Inquisition's official opinion of your person. As fate would have it, you have taken the reins of the von Valencius dynasty in an hour most dire, when grim portents and dark events are to come surfacing throughout the Corona's expanse. I have been duty-bound to become the first sentinel who sees the approaching threat, and I hereby alert you that it is indeed coming. Our loyalty and resolve will be tested. People such as you and I will become pillars that will unite the Emperor's frightened children and inspire them to fight back. And so, I greet you as my dependable ally and assure you of my favor. From now on, you have a trusted friend within the holy orders of the Emperor's Inquisition and a receptive confidant on whom you can rely. Should the dark times ahead require you to make questionable choices, have no doubt that such an incident will be examined in an exceedingly temperate fashion that rules out most of the radical forms of judgment. I have faith in your success of our partnership and thank you for your contribution, both past and future. Lord Inquisitor Xavier Calcazar. That's everything for the time being. Ahead of the ship, or do you still have business on Footfall? Whatever the case, I can either wait for you aboard or accompany you as part of your retinue. Lord Captain, inspection of the ship systems is complete. The experts are reporting the machine spirits are calm and satisfied. Everything's ready for onward travel, except there's an issue that you must be made aware of. Cassie makes a quick nervous gesture, adjusting the adornment on her third eye. I have been studying the records left by the vessel's previous navigator, and I want to double-check the routes to Dargonus and discover that it does not match the one recorded in the Atlas. It is more than a minor warp fluctuation. The route has been wiped out. It can no longer be used for traveling. To make matters worse, I started checking the paths from the Atlas, one after the other, and saw the same thing everywhere. The warp is roiling with an ominous storm, bursting with vivid and screaming colors. It will not hinder our movement, but all previous knowledge is now utterly useless. Argenta angrily chops the air with the side of her palm. Warp storms are our enemies, just like the heretics and demons. It's a shame they can't be dispersed with a flamer or a bolter. Now, we can be certain that the problems with the astropathic communication in the Coronis Expanse are no coincidence. There is a warp disturbance in your way, Lord Captain. It is swallowing messages and disrupting familiar routes. This means you need to locate the key worlds of Von Valence's protectorate as soon as possible. I'm talking about Janus, Dargonus, and Kiava Gamma. Charting new routes so they can be reached and restoring control will be the necessary next step. Abelard, what's your opinion? Which world should we deal with first? Abelard strokes his beard for a few seconds before giving a hesitant reply. Rediscovering the agri-world will supply your protectorate with something none of your servants can do without: sustenance. The importance of basic supplies should not be underestimated. Look at Footfall in its current pitiful state. On the other hand, I am concerned by the rumors concerning Kiava Gamma. There have been no problems on Janus for many years, but something is very wrong with the industrial world right now. Delay might cost us the entire planet. I trust I don't have to explain the capital world. Losing it would make us the laughingstock of other dynasties. Besides, the loss of chronicles and ledgers would spell a bureaucratic catastrophe. So all these systems are equally vital to the Protectorate. It falls to you to decide which should be brought into the fold before the rest, Lord Captain. Very well. Our course is clear. Do my officers have any other issues that require immediate attention? That is all, Lord Captain. The vessel and the crew await your instructions, ready to depart Footfall immediately should you so desire. Alright, before we continue, I'm going to go take a quick break for a smoke. I shall be right back. Stick around. Alright, now we're back.
Messiah knows all, comprehends all.
I want to know the truth about you.
The request is approved. I did conceal certain information. I was a student of Archmagos Amanat, but I committed an act of betrayal after he deviated from sacred dogma.
What did Amarnath do?
He fell into schism and challenged the sacred boundaries of knowledge. The blessed Amanat claimed the limits of what is permitted must be expanded, because by refusing to explore certain law, we find ourselves in contempt of the seventh universal law. Comprehension is the key to all things. My mentor put forth a thesis claiming that we have stagnated, that ritual is now nothing but a cage for souls and false worship of the Omnissiah. He sought to break the cycle of mindless repetition because he saw the inevitable demise of our faith and all humanity at the end of it.
Certain aspects of the Imperium have indeed ossified. His argument sounds reasonable.
This statement is false. My mentor's words sound like heresy. Limits were established because it is dangerous to venture beyond. Each step past them could lead to a bloody slaughter, but the blessed Amanat was not afraid.
How did you betray Amarnath?
The teachings of the blessed Amanat spread, and word of it reached the conclave of the Cognizance fleet. They recognized his teachings as tech heresy. Many tech priests suddenly vanished or were subjected to servo penance for minor transgressions. The students of Amanat, whose number included many enlightened and respected tech priests, resisted. My prognosis showed that our most likely future was a schism and a fratricidal war that would destroy the Cognizance fleet. That was when I headed to the Conclave. I confessed and handed the information about my mentor's research over to the Conclave. Brazen and thematic studies of the Forbidden Law. The Conclave could use that data to summon Archmagos Amanat. to stand trial and compel him to repent on pain of excommunicate traitoris. His subsequent fate is unknown to me.
That was rather callous of you. You really do have a heart of metal.
This statement is true. However, I took this step out of loyalty to my mentor. He rejected caution and was leading us to a blasphemous war where he would become the first and most important victim. I did not want to witness his destruction and tried to force him to submit. I wanted to return to my mentor and share his fate, but the Conclave found me repentant and sent me to the station Altar Templum Calixis X-17, where I was to atone for my previous transgressions.
You're as good at finding excuses as you are at technology.
This statement is false. I, Pascal Hahnemann, fully accept responsibility for my profane acts and betraying the trust of my esteemed mentor.
So why did you go to Rykard Minoris?
I was summoned there by a message that was encrypted with the Blessed Amanat's personal code, and could it be interpreted in several ways. One thing was certain: we were in danger, and I had to go to Rykard Minoris.
The tech priest named Abel. Who is he?
Assessing his personality is difficult. The spirit of Brother Abel is different from that of most people. Tech comrades of the Cog call such persons quiet ones. He possesses significant intellect, but shuns communication. So far, I have not been able to determine why Abel summoned me to Rykard Minoris, how he is related to the Blessed Amanat, or why he bears the same name as me. Perhaps the Reverend Abel cannot fully actualize and interpret the available data.
What are you going to do next?
I was wrong when I assumed it was the Blessed Archmagos Amanat who assumed the guise of Abel Hahnemann. But there is a connection between him and the Reverend Abel, and I intend to uncover the nature of this link.
No more questions.
Acknowledged. I will return to ruminating on the search for the Blessed Amanat.
I want to know more about your past.
The request is approved. I have no outright restrictions on disclosing this information.
Where are you from?
Information about my origins is worthless. I belong to the priesthood of explorators and came to the Coronis Expanse over 200 years ago. Any events preceding that moment are insignificant.
How did you end up with the Coronis Expanse?
I was honored to become a member of the Explorator Cognizance Fleet. When the Adeptus Mechanicus summoned the faithful for an exploratory venture into the depths of the Coronis Expanse, I joined the fleet in fulfillment of my sacred vows of comprehension.
Why are you not with the fleet then?
After I betrayed Archmagos Amanat, the fleet conclave directed me to the orbital station Altar Templum Calixis X-17 for penance. This venerable temple station was founded in the early years of our expansion into the Coronis Expanse. It is currently a rear observation post of the Cognizance fleet in orbit around the star Furibundus.
Okay, who are the explorators?
The sacred fraternity of explorers. The cult Mechanica sends us out to the frontiers of the known sectors as researchers and conquerors. We are the warriors of the Code, who return to the lost worlds and devote themselves to recovering the lost ancient knowledge. Explorators are granted the privilege of being more independent than many of our tech comrades. However, it has earned us a reputation as unstable and poorly controlled troublemakers whose unorthodox views are dangerously close to apostasy.
Tell me about your mechadendrites.
They are my younger brothers and guides on the way to the Omnissiah. Their machine spirits are directly bound to my neocortex and pick up impulses from my subconscious. Sometimes they act ahead of my thoughts. This is how the Omnissiah leads me to comprehension.
And we can stop there.
Acknowledged.
Tell me more about the Adeptus Mechanicus.
I am honored to belong to the priesthood of Mars, guided by its tenets. We safeguard technology against the impure and the unenlightened.
Why did you mention Mars?
That is where the cult of the Omnissiah originated, and where we were granted the first revelations. Many millennia ago, we made an alliance with the Emperor of Terra and have served the Imperium ever since, paying a tribute of machinery, weapons, and void ships. Everything that bears the blessed seal of machinery comes from our hands, and it is we who make sure the operating rituals are performed as they were meant to. We are everywhere. We are the Mars forged steel bars that give the Imperium strength.
What do you mean, guarded? It's not buried treasure, it's not a secret.
It is both a treasure and a secret. Technology is how the divinity of the Omnissiah manifests itself in this world. This is why the uninitiated may only be allowed to touch the most vulgar and mundane of its instances. We, on the other hand, are authorized to use the sacred catechism of maintenance and operation. Although there is another reason to deny lay people the sacrament of knowledge, it can be dangerous. Twisted by renegades, the Omnissiah's wisdom is called heretic, and the exposure to it may corrupt the uninitiated. Another danger is knowledge, strangely interpreted and inscrutably twisted by the minds of Xenos. This bane is called Xenotech.
One of the things you cannot understand is the opposite of seeking knowledge. Technology is merely a tool that can be employed without risk by a wise wielder.
That is a bold hypothesis. And yet the Omnissiah teaches us that a dauntless mind can penetrate any knowledge through analysis. Where the ignorant see heresy, the enlightened might see truth.
Do you hold a high position in your fraternity?
This electu indicates that I am a Magos, who has mastered the sacraments of many spheres of knowledge, and has the right to conduct services in a forged cathedral.
What is the Omnissiah, in your understanding?
He is the divine mechanism, the maker of technology. The universe was made to resemble a mechanical marvel, because the Omnissiah rules over it. Knowledge is the highest form that he uses to manifest in the world. For now. Someday, he will come to this world in the absolute fullness of his splendor. The Adeptus Mechanicus worshipped the Emperor. He is the earthly manifestation of the Omnissiah, who brought humanity into the light of divine grace.
What is behind the Adeptus Mechanicus' enthusiasm for replacing flesh with augmentations?
Organic tissue is an imperfect replica of the machine, transient and vulnerable. Metal is more stable, more effective, and more durable. Flesh speak is flawed next to binary language. Meat begets weakness, it softens the mind and undermines discipline. But you can replace metal when it wears down. In addition, a machine is a supreme form of knowledge, and by assuming mechanical form, we become closer to the Omnissiah. However, like all things sacred, our augmentations must not be defiled by the eyes of the ignorant. which is why we reveal only the crudest of tools, while holier mechanisms remain concealed beneath our crimson robes.
I'm curious to see your augmentations.
The right to witness the miracle of flesh being fused with holy metal is granted only to those who have ascended to the rank of initiate. However, your lofty status of rogue trader allows me to make a partial exception and reveal my sacred stigmata.
Pascal reverently parts with scarlet folds on his chest. You see emaciated white meat gnawed through by metallic shunts and flexible wires. Blood runs through transparent pipes enriched with the nutrients required by pallid flesh. The sight of a body transformed into an appendage to an incredible complex mechanism built using unfathomably ancient blueprints is mesmerizing. Every component of this machine serves a dual purpose of preserving life in Pascal's fragile flesh and preventing all threats to his well-being. Omnissiah has been generous to you. This creation is keeping you safe from death.
The Omnissiah has been generous to you too. He has granted you understanding.
You have a strange way of speaking. Is that because of the augmentation, or does your faith dictate how you should express yourself?
Partially true. I had a voice modulator implanted alongside the respiratory purification module, but there is an additional reason. Gothic is not my first language. I am used to thinking and making statements in lingua technis. The binaric language is more informative, more ergonomic, and less prone to misinterpretation.
I have no more questions.
Acknowledged.
Take my leave.
May your labors be effective and fruitful.
Perseus here from the Electro-Priest Monastery, the servant of the Omnissiah who calls himself Abel Haneman, is staring intently at a cogitator's vidscreen. Wires connect the sacred computing machine to augmetics inside the prayerfully bowed heads of murmuring servitors. Abel looks up at you. After a lengthy silence, he looks away and says stiffly, "The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all." How are you feeling, Abel? Electro-Priest stares intently at his feet for a while, then says in a halting voice, "The running of binaric protocols was bogged down and dissolved in false commands. The filter has separated the correct signals from the incorrect. Running has been restored to its swiftness." Pascal speaks softly as though trying to match the inflection of Abel's voice. Tech brother Abel has passed the diagnostics. The pernicious influence of sacrilegious procedures have been completely eliminated. Statistically, most of the survivors of the schismatical's infestation are left with severe cognitive impairments. However, Tech brother's Abel's mind, being less typical in nature, has not been damaged so great to agree. Tech brother Abel, you are free from possession, are you not? I trust that you pose no threat to my ship. Abel's voice quivers and his eyes dart around, desperately avoiding eye contact. What was flawed has been purged. The shadows of the hunt linger. The cog is dismounted and no judgment has been made. In the absence of judgment, threat remains. Who will make the judgment? I will. Pascal places a mechadendrite on Abel's shoulder and repeats, his voice heavy like a wheel tread crushing the dirt underneath. I will make the judgment that will avert the threat. His giggles falls on you. There is no need to frighten him. What troubles him so? I assume that this was caused by the shock inflicted upon his system by the schismatical attack, but my tech brother's words are a sign of a deeper reason for his unease. He foresees something that threatens both him and all those around him, and thus I stand ready to face this threat. What judgment do you two speak of? Only he knows. But if my tech brother fears that he might not make the right decision at the critical moment, then I will do it for him. Why are you so concerned about him? He's not the one you were hoping to find. Answer: unknown. I am registering a kinship, both between our identifiers and one that is more profound. Archmagos Armanad left an imprint on all his students. It may be then that I see some of my mentor in tech brother Abel, so my spirit rejoices and strives to keep him from harm. You care for him as if he truly was your younger brother. Pascal's vox raps a tired laugh. Tech brother Abel is harmonious, and harmony is beauty. Is it so strange to urge to protect beauty from the horrors of the grotesque? I will not give Abel any undue cause for dread. Thank you. Why do you and Pascal have the same name? Abel freezes. From his vox synth, barely audible, though through the static, come the words. The naming of the names is not an index to the text. The naming of the names is the text. Abel's answers can be enigmatic. His mind works differently from ours. He thinks in harmonic imagery and notices the symmetries and the proportional relationships in the world around him. Poetry would be the closest analogy to how he perceives and interacts with reality. Abel, could you please explain what you mean? Abel relaxes a little. His gaze drifts to the side. There is silence. I never imagined there could be poets among the tech priests. Pascal looks surprised. Why not? Techno-linga is rhythmical and processes a broad semantic scope. Some of its more sonorous dialects lend themselves well to an individual and symphonic declamation. Pascal, do you understand what Abel is referring to? Negative. However, I will hypothesize. Tech brother Abel is seeking to convey the idea that our matching identifiers are not the key to some vital data point. They are, in and of themselves, the vital data point. At this stage of my analysis, I can draw no useful conclusions from this proposition. However, the very fact that Tech brother Abel is trying to hint at something points him to either being better informed than I am or having conducted a more in-depth analysis of the situation. That is useful information. Are we overthinking it? It doesn't matter why your names are the same, and what matters is that they are the same? Is that what you mean? Abel looks sideways at you, and at once his transfixed stupor is gone. At this point in time, cycle has been broken and reshaped into a rising spiral, as Amarnath envisioned. When hearing his mentor's name, Pascal has heard a raspy, static-filled sigh. They are connected. My hypothesis regarding Abel's connection to the blessed Amarnath have been confirmed. What are you working on? We catch the soul of light in the solar wind. We look for the footsteps of the Omnissiah left when he walked the desert. This is the one romantic computational procedure. The depersonalized minds of these machine servants are in the data stream, processing enormous arrays of assorted data, aggregating them. Virtually all results of such synthesis are scrap data, but occasionally we have noted coincidence whose exactness defied logic. It is an extremely rare and venerated form of statistical augury, but Tech brother Abel is adept at this form of appealing to the Deus Mechanicus. The logical connection with the data. Most of the runes are devoid of any meaning, but you notice a few among them that combine into a formulae and computational graphs. Abel peers at you inquisitively and then shifts his gaze to the vidscreen, and you could swear that a smile lights up his face under his respiratory augmetic. A crystal is exquisite in clear water. Deviation from the cycle's trajectory has been increased, as was Amarnath's wish. Abel lowers his head, and his vox synthesizer broadcasts a binaural hymn that you do not recall having heard before. Its sound is full of vibrant energy, and precise rhythm is nothing short of pleasing to the ear. A rare thing for the language of the Adeptus Mechanicus. Pascal explains with an inexplicable air of pride. Tech brother Abel has dedicated a lesser aria to you. The piece is distinguished by a high degree of acoustic harmony and is fit for use as a motto, auxiliary identifier, or epitaph. I thank you for the generous gift. The gift is disproportionate, but it does signify a personal affinity. Why do you do it? It is how we execute the quest of knowledge in hope that the machine god grants us an epiphany, so that we may discern a logical connection in a mass of absurd data, which will propel our comprehension forward. Respect the sacred machine. The hair has been removed from the servitors' heads. Their bulky cerebral augmetics cover their skulls like helmets. The faces of the cogitators' servants are blank. Their eyes are closed. Their lips are incessantly whispering what sounds like gibberish. Hundreds of lines of symbols containing information scroll down the cogitator's vidscreen. Abel Hahnemann peers at it with voracious interest, in a sharp contrast to his usual placidity. Abel goes back to intently watching the calculations. His eyes are light with curiosity. Did you hear what Abel said? It seems that we have contributed to Amarnath's design and deviated from the cycle. What does that mean for you? A low guttural sound rises from the depths of Pascal's voice synth, as the planet's tectonic plates are shifting and crushing each other. The mighty rumble brings forth words imbued with power. We follow a path charted by a great mind, but that path leads to dark places. The cycle has the advantage of predictability. Abandoning it will plunge the collective into a perilous space of uncertainty, which will inevitably lead to disasters and risk of universal annihilation. The doctrine of discontinuing the cycle may herald good things to come, or it may be a death sentence. Only the Omnissiah knows all and comprehends all. Others are mere prophets who interpret his wisdom as far as their own comprehension permits. It is better to meet the challenge of change and perish in failure than to rot alive. This statement is true. The annihilation promised by stagnation is inevitable. Annihilation as the cause of a crisis of change is merely probable, and meekly waiting for the foretold decline is shameful and constitutes a betrayal of the quest of knowledge. The tone of thundering profundity drains from Pascal's voice, giving way to his familiar sibilance. I must take my leave. Abel immediately looks away as if he's lost all interest in you, but then his voice crackles, barely audible. I am glad to see you. The reflections of the bridge lights are playing on the unlit vidscreen of the cogitator. Next to the machine stands a haunched tech priest who bows at you. Approach, his body nearly folding in half. Lord Captain, the machine spirit of this mechanism slumbers. Should you wish to awaken it, use the key of your blood. Place your hand inside the servitor's maw. The servitor's powerful jaws close around your hand with a screeching clack. You feel the cold metal pierce your skin and draw blood. The vidscreen in front of you is a flicker restlessly, filling with numerical combinations. The secretary of the cogitator nods curtly. The sacred mechanism is awake and ready to receive your request, Lord Captain. Pascal has informed me that the system has encrypted data stored inside. I wish to know its contents. Without a word, the tech priest turns to the cogitator. He raises his hands and a prayer of binaural code pours out of his Vox device. The servo motors in the bowels of the machine grow louder, its undulating hum responding to his chant. Numerical combinations run down the screens. Scanning 000.0. Scanning 000.5. Scanning 000.9. Says error reg 789.0344. Rest init ident 10256. Nomos operate resp off. Nomos operate resp repo. Nomos operate resp off. Machine Spirit discovered numerous critical errors. The data is damaged. The tech priest stops abruptly and the green glow of his visor narrows, registering an intact segment. The Machine Spirit has spoken. The worlds of Kiava Gamma and Dargonos hold certain data repositories. The mechanism ready to provide the rogue trader with data keys that can unlock said repositories. How do I accept these keys? Cogitator biscuit blinks. Input. Nomos. Rec resp datatran. Act init 0987514882. The gracious Machine Spirit is willing to transfer data keys to the head of the House 1 Valancius by means of Elec 2. Hypodermic tattoo augment. You're ready to accept the keys. Place your hands on the servitor's mouth. Deep within the servitor's dark gullet, unseen, hot burning needles pierce your wrist. The sharp pain only lasts a moment. The Elec tube has been planted inside your wrist and should be enough to open the repository drawers. I have other questions. The tech priest bows. Had the tech priest or the Adeptus Mechanicus been able to discern how the ship was able to start her warp engine? The Agency Prime spends hours pursuing the quest of knowledge in hopes of comprehending the nature of the said miracle. With the Omnissiah's grace guide him on his journey. A thin, pale woman stands well among the rest of the crew. There's a quick, thick bundle of cables coming out of the back of her skull and disappearing under her ceremonial garment, and you see the grate of quietly humming vox where her mouth should be. Woman sees you and bows her head in respectful greeting. How may I serve you, Lord Captain? Connect me to the ship's main channel. I wish to bolster the morale of my crew. It is done, Lord Captain. You address the crew with a rousing speech and hear your voice roll through the ship, reaching even the normally quiet corners of the vessel. When the broadcast ends, you hear distant shouts of approval. Remind me who you are. Voxmaster Octavius Victus Suri Otter of the Toilamin dynasty, and current Voxmaster serving aboard your vessel. In accordance with the Seneschal's orders, I assumed this duty immediately upon the demise of the esteemed Voxmaster Septimus, who was my grandfather. What are the Voxmaster's duties? I am the ears and the voice of the ship. I supervise several dozen officers and 3 times that number of support personnel. We receive, send, encrypt, and decode all incoming and outgoing messages through the ship's internal and external channels. We also ensure clean communications and the optimal efficiency of the crew's Voxcasters. If you ever want to know what worries or concerns your crew are harboring, what your subjects are whispering about in local networks after their watches, and what their leaders are clamoring about over shortwave Vox transmissions, just come and see me. I will satisfy your curiosity. Have the Vox spirits brought you anything interesting lately? You may be interested to know that a group of officers was discussing a grim rumor over lunch. Word has it the apparition of the Lord Captain Theodore has been sighted on board lately. Yes, you heard right. They say she is haunting the decks, dragging wayward crew members off into oblivion. Disquiet has spread throughout the ship, as the anomaly has been reported in different sections, sometimes entire kilometers apart. Voxmaster leans closer to you. Master Heinrich von Kallax expressed interest in our communication stations and the Vox nets a short while ago. Helget appears to be very well versed in the matters of sacred technology, and it worries me. A man of his knowledge and in his line of work is capable of discreetly planting his own devices in our system. We will be vigilant, Lord Captain, but you should try to be more careful as well. Your appearance is unique. You are a Voidborn, are you not? My appearance comes from my heritage, generation after generation of people who spent their entire lives in the depths of this void ship. Neither we or our ancestors have ever left our home, but the same can be said about many denizens of the Imperium's million worlds. We are used to the silence of the cosmos and the voices of the ship. There are thousands of us, but we dwell far from the Lord Captain's upper decks and remain unseen. We are the Voidborn. I see. That's not the business. That'll be all for now. I wanted to respec Cassia because I wasn't very happy with the situation. Okay.
Domin.
A surly built man with an augmented jaw stands at attention. Dark circles under his eyes speak to many sleepless nights, but his voice is loud and spirited. Welcome to Freight Hub LD 987/4A14, Lord Captain. I'm Medoc Frenzo, Captain of the Enforcers in the lower deck bay LDA14. The Master at Arms assigned me to be your liaison for the duration of your stay here. Lord Captain, would you like to inspect the control room or begin your search for the Temple of the Bloodspun Web? This is the last part with obvious concern. It seems you're prepared for my visit. How did you and Saubeck know I was coming now? The Master at Arms orders to be on standby after the Bloodspun Web openly invited you to their temple. We have been awaiting your arrival every day since then, Lord Captain. Do you know how to reach the Temple of the Bloodspun Web? I'm sorry, Lord Captain, I do not. No one knows. The cultists are too adept at hiding and keeping their secrets. And it worries me that you might have to walk around the entire compartment looking for the temple. Why are you worried? Is there a problem with this compartment? The lower decks are not suitable for someone of your status, and it's not crime or crowds or brutish laborers. I suspect that the entrance to the Temple of Death is hidden in some dark corner where you might encounter criminals or contagious outcasts. The kind of riffraff that dwells here, you might even be attacked. Cassia shivers. Such ghastly places you describe. We're not headed there, are we, Lord Captain? To put it bluntly, though the Bay performs its functions well, even with more civilized sections are sorely lacking in discipline. I was only assigned recently, so I haven't had the time to straighten everything up. Since doing so will require making some serious changes. I'm not inventing excuses, Lord Captain. As officer in charge, I accept full responsibility for what takes place in this compartment. I hereby offer you my assistance, Captain. I shall conduct an inspection and then share my thoughts on how to change this place for the better. But Presto stops himself mid-protest and assumes a more compliant one. In that case, I urge you to remain vigilant. The freight trains move at great speeds and the inhabitants of the residual residential units are despicable rabble. One must never drop one's guard around them. An emperor preserve you from stumbling into this pestilence pit. That's where the madmen and the lepers live. The cult of the Bloodspun Web has a presence in this compartment, does it not? That is correct. The enforcers do not bar them from carrying out their sacred duties, scowls, as the regular residents to have armed crew members set up secret hideout forbidden to the enforcers, and that they can go around dispensing bloody justice. Do you not take issue with dead cultists killing your people on your territory? Fresno avoids looking at Cabela. I do, Lord Captain. The cult is authorized to exist on the ship, which means their activities down here are not to be interfered with. What do you know about the dead cultists? Not much. I'm always trying to learn more, given that they like to pay visits to my compartment. Fresno scratches his head thinking. The spinners honor the Emperor through death. They kill notorious reprobates and heretics. Sometimes they kill righteous folk, and other times even seemingly at random. The rituals are morbid, and their prayers are strange. Anyone not initiated in their rites would struggle to make any sense of them. I see. The captain grumbled suddenly under his breath. Think about the station. Hub LD 987/A14 connects the lower decks freight, residential, and artillery base. Our task is to monitor the flow of labor force and prevent supply disruption between bays. Who maintains this hub? Traffic controllers. The technomats trained in the priests of the machine cult to keep the sacred cogitators in working order and prevent train collisions. The consequence of such an accident like that would be easy to imagine, especially one of the trains were carrying macro cannon ordnance. Also employed here are the Enforcer Squad, a team of Inferni, the clerks who keep the cargo records, and a Medicae officer. A fine chap whose medicinal choice is a bullet. May the God Emperor forgive him. Not even a boy ship can boast of its own railway. That is true. Usually higher class ships are the ones that get trains, but it's far from the greatest thing a rogue trader's warrant can see done. Credit here goes to Lady Theodora's predecessor, on whose orders the Adeptus Mechanicus assisted in birthing this miracle of sacred engineering from the womb of the dynasty's flagship. What is the situation on the lower decks? Most of the locals unload trains and sort provisions. We give maintenance jobs to the more capable ones. The rest are reserve workforce. Whenever a crew are lost on a deck, we find replacements among those rats. And if any extra hands are needed elsewhere, there are always more than enough volunteers eager to work for rations. They even queue for jobs. Rabble causes you no problems, I hope. Oops. Surely you're joking, Lord Captain. The rabble are base in nature, and mutiny is always on their minds. They steal whatever they can get their hands on, and lately they've moved from rations to tin food to weapons. We confiscate these regularly, of course, and keep the serfs meek and terrified. That's the only way we can protect the mindless herd from themselves. Oh, another thing. The bastards do on a regular basis is build their shacks in front of service tunnel entrances. That has delayed the arrival of Infernus brigades during several emergencies and caused air and power supply problems in adjacent bays. We burn those saboteurs along with their shacks, but they just keep pressing on regardless. Mutinous rabble? How paranoid of you. To the best of my knowledge, being paranoid is practically a requirement in our line of work. In any case, the rabble are always plotting, take my word for it. I have learned enough. Always at your service, Lord Captain. You said fast in your duty, Captain Fresno. The Emperor protects, Lord Captain.
What lies beyond?
Is this the welcome we give the rogue trader? Abla's nostrils flare in anger. Whoever had the audacity to leave this behind, this appalling symbol, I will see to it the Master of Arms calls him to account herself. The corner of Captain's mouth twitches nervously as he mutters, "Damn those! How did they even?" You have seen a sort of symbol before. Death cultists carve bleeding marks like this into their own skin. Cabela carves the same symbol on the back of her hand with a knife and whispers a prayer. Domin Nero, remember this sign. It is the beginning of your quest, the first blood trail. Do you know what this mark is? It resembles one of the symbols associated with the blood-spun web. What was it called again? The Song of Trailing Blood, I think. It's a prayer familiar to many in this compartment. We've heard spinners say it when they, perform their signature acts of service to the Emperor. Trevor takes a deep breath. The soundless shadow sank into the dark, slashed feet crescendo, a fatal dance. Blade song in tempo, each edge an echo. Twin odes to death throes. Now on her sacred blood, as she once trod the backs of foes, tread countless souls, but none who know. You memorized the verse? Why? I took up my post here and made sure to familiarize myself with all the particular qualities of this compartment. I soon heard about the verse and decided to investigate. I questioned a number of people who follow the bloodspun web as I tried to figure out if there was anything pernicious about it. And eventually I learned the whole thing. He frowns. The words are certainly strange, but it's nothing worse than that, it seems. And what is the Song of Trading Blood? From what I can tell, it's something like a prayer with several verses that tell about the life of the cult's saints. Ariane, or the matriarch Pyro, as they call her. In other words, it's an invitation that's only too obvious that cultists obsessed with mysticism would never use to mark the way to their temple. They are too fond of their obscure chants or cryptic verses. So, I am to follow a trail of blood, it seems. I accept the spinner's invitation. Hope you find what you're looking for and return to the upper deck safely, Lord Captain.
Do we truly have to be here? I am not even sure what is making me more nauseous. These horrid colors, or the smell.
Oh, yes. They all will see. Patience? My nerves are frayed.
Mercy! Please save me. The young man gasped for air through burnt lips, sipping in and out of delirium. His skin is dripping from a gaunt body like melted wax from a candle. His eyes, somehow intact, alive, clear, and filled with pain, stare at you from under caked eyelids. Get some enforcers and the Medicaid personnel down in here now. A man has been in need of revival. Once he's recovered, assign him to be a scribe's apprentice. He is too badly injured to go back to a worker's life. A blissful smile twists the man's lips and a tear forms the corner of his ruined eye socket. The God Emperor has sent you to save me. You are his light. You are his grace. Thank you. Thank you for not leaving me here. Never forget the mercy the Lord Captain has granted you. When the undying one is ready to accept a soul, it must be sent forth, and so it will be freed from the torment of the flesh. Yet you have chosen to prolong this one's suffering. Your intentions perplex me. Do you know anything about the mark next to you? He tries to turn his head, his blackened skin crunching as it opens to scarlet cracks. A spinner came. He painted the symbol. Then he gave me water, whispered a strange verse, told me to memorize it and recite it later, so the help would come, and here you are. Then I should... The man begins to whisper, his lips twisted in pain. To soot-smudged soul her mercy did grant. Last breath expressed, knife met heart. Removed from the chest, passed on to death. Her duty blessed, a balm for those who suffer. Anguish and distress, a longing brought to rest. Of mortal bonds the soul divest. More verses, the crux of this test is clear. In order to follow the saint's footsteps, you are supposed to kill the young man and thus release him from his suffering. The cultists want to see if you understand the philosophy of those you seek. Who are you and what happened to you? I am Vale, a cleaner. I was in my house asleep. Enforcers came, set fire to it. I didn't make it out of the time. Help is on the way. Just hold on a little longer. Of course. Thank you.
Ooh, another notch. Curiosity sings in my veins.
The Burns Master leads you cheerfully with his glow stick. Lord Captain, what an unexpected encounter. What brings you to the compartment? The famous cuisine and the magnificent vistas, no doubt? I seek the Bloodspawn Web's temple. Do you know where they are hiding? I don't have the foggiest idea. Probably for the best. I have my hands full as it is. What are you doing here? I'm here to patch up Savage. Locomotive number 3, under the tech priest supervision. That old grump is my personal favorite on the entire freight line. Every couple of years, Savage lets out his mad. Every couple of years, Savage gets mad. His boiler catches fire and starts spitting steam at the repairman. Guess what they call to take care of him in these situations? The Inferni, of course. And after I've done all the most dangerous work, that's when the iron brains come in. That's alright. I love Savage. When he's in a good mood, the feeling you get standing at his levers and speeding down the freight line is indescribable. I envy those tech priest drivers who get to operate him every day. The roar of the boiler, the wheels thumping like mad, and all that furious power pulsing in your hands, responding to the slightest movement. How about the mischievous spark in Heinrich's eyes? I introduce you. I cannot turn an offer like that. The panel before you is covered with technical runes, lumens, and levers. The platform shakes with the broiler's mighty vibration as the iron beast beneath your feet growls and snorts ferociously. Heinrich squints contentedly and whispers the litany of ignition before turning to you. The machine is angry and refuses to obey. Right now, Savage is powered only by the auxiliary maneuvering engine. You need to start the main rotor if you want to take a trip down the freight line. Initiating the train blessing algorithm. Let not corrosive wear separate the wheel sets. Let the traction drive receive the touch of the motive force granted by the invisible hand of the armed Messiah. Let his grace strengthen the joints and supports that lift the body above the decay of the mortal tracks. Hear me, driver, and praise the machine god thrice, for it is only by his will that the miracle of sacred locomotion is accomplished. The blessing has been successfully executed. Listen to the rumbling noise coming from the boiler. The stubborn machine indeed does seem remarkably similar to a wild beast. The roar of the mechanism resembles a horse growling, and the scarlet glow of the lumens in the control panel makes you think of a malicious glare of a predator. The spirit of this machine is vicious, but strong and lively. What should I do? Put your hand on the big lever and gently give it a pull. Very gently. Heinrich's face is focused, but his voice has not lost any of its playful cheer. Savage does not like being hassled. Grasp the lever and gently pull it towards you. A few erratic jolts shake the platform, and an indignant groan emanates from the depths of the machine. An intense shudder passes through the lever and into the palm of your hand. There's a strange feeling of emptiness in your stomach. Savage's fiery heart is stirring. Do you feel it? There is so much energy and defiance in him. This is a rocket, not a locomotive. Unruly and enamored with speed, but quite willing to submit to a strong hand. There's almost a loving tenderness in Heinrich's voice. Put the lever towards you, smoothly but firmly. Then pump up the fuel with this command room. Pull the lever, pump the fuel. A new explosion inside Savage shakes his iron body, causing your eyes to see double from the vibration. Now you are feeling his real power. You can run down the entire freight line in a minute given the chance, and kill everyone who rides him at that speed. Now, try applying some thrust to the main rotor. Grab those paired levers and give them a firm tug. Reach for the ornately carved levers and awaken the beast. A torrent of steam bursts from the slit in front of your face, where Heinrich deftly covers you with his shoulder. A moment later, you realize that you cannot hear a thing, or rather, you only hear one thing, the roar of the engine, triumphant and powerful. It looks like Savage has agreed not to kill us both. His tech priest guardians will be pleased. All hail the Lord Captain. You have subdued a mighty beast today. Now I'm sure you have urgent business to attend to, and it's time for me to drive Savage on the line and see if he's feeling cranky. Change of plans. Full speed ahead. We're heading down the freight line. Not quite, your lordship. I said Chavez is not dangerous, but not dangerous ends there. He might pull a stunt and bake us to death during the ride. It would be better the ship did not lose another Lord Captain. Excuse me. That was most intriguing, Heinrich. I am pleased. Could I have wished for anything more, your lordship? Have a good trip. Everything gonna be alright, Savage? Would never fry me. Right, Savage? We can't go across, can we? It's bad. A group of gawkers are crowding around a makeshift stage, watching a strange duo perform. A man with odd-looking goggles pushed up to his forehead, hands wrapped in worn leather gloves, plays a tune on a handmade flute. Next to him sits a stack of crates supporting some kind of game board. A scruffy rat is rolling a small glass balls around the board. Watch the game. Several workers empty their pockets and start throwing ration cards, bolt nuts, and even a few power panels into the smallest chest near the board. The flute player winks at the crowd and switches to a different tune. The rat squeaks excitedly and starts rolling the colorful balls the players have chosen around the maze of tunnels on the board. Not a single one reaches the goal, a hole marked with a red circle. The rat just rolls all the balls off the board or into dead ends. Once the first group of players gets their hopes dashed and leave empty-handed, the new workers immediately take their place. Watch the rat. The rat skies around the board, spurred on by the flute. Its movements appear erratic at first glance, but after a while you notice how consistently the ball seems to miss the goal at the very last moment. While the rat's clumsy, amusing scampering distracts the spectators, the nimble tail directs the balls away from the hole. Listen to the tune. It's all the trick of analyzing individual elements. Your mind eliminates all irrelevant factors, the ruffling of cars, the clamoring of bolt nuts, the gestures of naive folk believing in luck where calculation reigns. There's only the game and its structural components, a skillfully crafted melody, and a train pet that is smarter than it looks. When others hear music, you discern a series of coded directives being issued to the flute player's tiny accomplice. The rat distracts the spectators with a show of clumsiness while precisely following his master's commands. This is how the balls just happen to roll past the goal, much to the chagrin of the participants. Just going to the chest, a fine show. The crowd, which has been too absorbed in the performance, notice your presence turns to you, expressions of frightful awe appearing on the workers' faces. Many start whispering prayers. The flute player's clear eyes widen in surprise, then with an open and friendly smile he says, "May a grand story of the Lord Captain's generosity is told, and I swear on my own flute, today I will add another. To our fortune peddler, the Lord Captain's grace is a gift from fate itself." He applauds you with gratitude, and the workers timidly join in. "Perhaps you'd like to trade us some of the Captain's fortune of yours, Lord Captain." The flute player bows respectfully and gestures at the game board. The crowd buzzes with anticipation. "That's a curious-looking flute. How did you come by it?" He passes the instrument gently. "My mother loved music. She used to hum beautiful melodies to me, and when she passed away, I carved this flute from her hip bone and learned to play, out of sorrow and respect for her memory." Are you suggesting we play a game? Flute player smiles eagerly. "Please, bless our little lark with your attention. Explain the rules of this game to me." "It is simple. On this board, you play with fate. Use a ball and give it to Bolts, my rat. If he rolls your ball into the pocket marked with red, within 3 minutes, you win. If he doesn't, you lose. Simple. This should be amusing." The man raises his flute and the rat dives under the board. You hear clawed feet scrambling against the crate. A few moments later, a green ball pops out of center. You've already seen through the flute player's performance. You listen to him play and watch the rat closely. At a certain point, you start tapping your fingers on the edge of the crate, adding your own rhythm to the tune. The rat scrambles in confusion, mistaking your commands for those of its master, and starts rolling the ball toward the goal. The ball drops in the red hole. A few impressed whistles come from the crowd, and the flute player laughs heartily. "Cleverly done, your lordship. Well, I had no doubt that you would be a worthy opponent. And your strategy, I think I'll keep that in mind for the future games." Cut a button from your sleeve and throw it to the man. "For the entertainment. Thank you, a generous gift. These folks will shower me in ration cards to get their hands on something that belonged to your lordship. Fortune gave me the brightest of its smiles today. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I certainly won't forget my fateful meeting with the Lord Captain." Flute player clears the board in one deft movement and begins a new tune.
In this tapestry of a world, I am the rogue thread.
Alright guys, I'm gonna go for a quick smoke, and we'll be right back. Alright, and we're back. A sinewy middle-aged man watches the bustle of the bay with a detached expression. Every so often, when his eyes linger on the blood mark inscribed nearby, his face changes strangely and his hands clench into fists. Just as you hear the rumble of an approaching train, the man's gaze turns towards the tracks. He leans forward. What do you think you're doing? What? I didn't... The man starts and almost falls, but manages to keep his balance. In the dim lumen light, you notice old scars scattered across his body. The scars seem vaguely familiar. Pascal's voice synthesizer springs to life with an indignant binaural trill. I am registering this unit's intention to use the train tracks for purposes other than those intended by their design. I categorically demand that the unit's self-disposal be carried out using methods that do not violate the catechism of maintenance and operation. Look at the man's scars. The scars all vary in length, width, depth, and shape. However, we notice a pattern in the way the skins are aligned, as well as a series of faded symbols on the man's rough skin. Death cultists bear similar marks on their bodies. But spinners are constantly renewing their wounds, while the man's look long since healed. Your eyes always return to that blood symbol. What do you know about it? Symbol of the blood-spun web. I come here every watch, but it hasn't been here before now. I guess today must be a special day. He smiled strangely. The man's faded eyes go wide as he notices Kibela. His voice quivers. You! Have you come to take me to the other side? Kibela briefly studies the man's face and turns away. I do not know you. Death's gaze is not upon you. The man lets out a dull groan and turns to look at the symbol again. But then, why? Why is it here? You know the symbols of the bloodspun web. You bear similar scars. Are you a spinner? I was, but I failed to complete my final assignment, so I was exiled from the cult. The Vizier told me to kill the one who would be at a certain junction on the utility tunnels at a certain hour. I went to the appointed spot, then I waited. An hour, 2, 5. The junction was still empty. Nobody came. After hours of waiting, I realized the person at the junction had been me the whole time. It was my turn to go to the Undying One, but I was afraid. I couldn't do my duty. I ran. So the spinners let you go and made no attempts to find you and kill you. There was no pursuit. I thought I'd see their black blaze the very next day. Instead, years had passed without them taking my heart. I tried starting a new life, but the terror never stopped eating away at me. When I truly got desperate, I went to the Temple of Death myself, but no one there would speak to me. When I gave them my name, they just whispered. Sebridit has gone to the Undying One. They looked through me like I wasn't even there. I have lived like this for 20 years, like a coward, like a dead man. You were ordered to die. For what reason? The man looks at you. But some would choose to leave the righteous path. These earned penance in due time. Her whip sings vengeance on renegade menace. Her blades pass sentence, for cowards seek to hide their hearts. But death makes no pretendence. It takes what is due in essence. He stops, then adds hoarsely. The third verse of the Song of Trailing Blood. The Vizier recited to me before sending me on my final assignment. I didn't realize that at the time it was my judgment. Another verse, another step along the trail of blood. The riddle is trivial. It is time for death to take what is due. The Vizier is waiting expectantly for you to carry out the sentence he passed years ago. For plenty of reasons I sowed death. I offered him the souls of the most pleasing men and women I could find because it kindled my passions. I killed well-off crewmen who didn't deserve their wealth, and I took their thrones. I killed enforcers who looked into my eyes without fear because I wanted to be feared. I reveled in bloodshed. I betrayed the tenets. I realized it, but I couldn't help because I enjoyed it. Have you killed any more innocent souls since you ran? No. I've been afraid to touch my own knife since that day. Though it might stab me on its own, the temptation is always there. You do not sound particularly remorseful. I spent years in remorse. I'm tired of it. You are a coward and a butcher of the innocent. I will purge my ship of your existence. The man has nothing to stop you. He leans closer to the rails, accepting his fate with a smile on his face. The undying one is death. Isabella stares at the remains of he who was once her brother in service. Truly, it better to die for him than to live for yourself. This he forgot. Battle Burger throws himself at your feet and touches the toe of your boot with his dirty palms. Your gracious lordship, hand of the god emperor, save your unworthy servant. Get lost! The enforcer's heavy baton pummels the man's back and shoulder several times. His bones crack audibly. My sincerest apologies, Lord Captain. Your boot. I'll clean it right away. The murmurs of discontent breaks out among the Gawkers who have gathered around. None of the other workers dare come closer, with the anger of their faces plain to see. I tend to hear this man out. Your lordship, I work hard. I never take breaks to rest, and all I earn is 7 ration cards with 15 mouths to feed back home. The enforcers shake me down every shift, just like they do every other honest worker who... Enough whining! You and your pals lifted a box of Nutri-Bars a few watches ago, and 2 canisters of water before that. I didn't beat the life out of you because I took pity on you. This is the thanks I get? You quarantined the hub for 20 watches and refused to give out rations. We didn't have cards. Cards we had no way to earn. And today you earn 15 cards in a single shift because you work for 3 people, right? Or did you take your pals to a dark corner somewhere, do them in, and take their share? I didn't do them in, it was an act. Thousands of cowards and whimpers. They got their heads bashed in by crates. The dead don't need rations. Okay, society, you see, is much like a boot. Its toe proudly directs one foot of the Imperium forward, yet it needs a soul to stand on. You are the soul, good people. That you are down here choking on dirt without ever seeing a sliver of light is not the result of someone's ill will, but rather it is the logical order of the world. I hope that understanding this fact will help you make peace with your destiny and free you of all spite. Alas, the ungrateful rabble is incapable of fathoming the sheer grandeur of your views on social structures. Blinking their ignorant eyes dully, the serfs continue to stare at you without proper respect. Low, insistent dissent begins to rise in the crowd, only to die back down as soon as the enforcers brandish their batons. Murmurs immediately turn into pleas for mercy. A sudden red-bearded man with the keen black eyes draws your attention. His oddly piercing gaze seems to size you up the whole time you were speaking, but he has hastened to conceal himself behind the Gawkers. Next thing you know, you are watching him hurry deeper into the tunnels. Oh yes, 12. This time I'm going to break 13 of your fingers and ribs as a lesson for your slimy accomplices.
will be no peace in my wake.
A group of beggars rattling their arms, mugs, and ostentatiously displaying their hunger-stricken bellies raise disfigurements. A toothless man falls to his knees before you. Your lordship, spare a throne for those who can't even get the worst jobs. Let your bellies be full tonight. Praise be the Lord Captain. The poor man descends on the arms like a pack of gutter rats, each one scuttling off with their own corner with what they grabbed. Several people are eagerly rummaging through a rack filled with weapons from the Enforcer's arsenal. A big man with a pockmarked face is the first to react to your presence. He attracts the other's attention with a piercing whistle and barks out. Who are you? There's not supposed to be anyone here. It doesn't matter. Identify yourself. Take a closer look at the suspicious individuals. Make sure to armor a piece off from beneath their ragged clothes, and their battered weapons display a patchwork of crude repairs. The group stares longingly at the rack where the good plus steel gleams, restlessly clutching their humble weapons. You notice that the little finger of every person's right hand has been cut off. It is hardly a coincidence. Abelard, help these wretches realize the full extent of their unenviable position. Before you stands Lord Captain Nero von Valancius, master of this vessel and everything on it, including those goods you are pawing at with your unwashed hands and your miserable lives as well. People turn to stare at you in disbelief and exchange heated whispers. The excitement is interrupted by the leader's roar. What are you gawping at? How do you even bend your backs? As is right and proper. Your lordship, you must excuse these blockheads. I was taken aback myself. It's not every day you see the rogue trader in the flesh. And as for this, the man casts a grim glance at the rack. I won't insult you by denying it. You've caught us red-handed. Tell me why I shouldn't execute you on the spot. You could execute us, but who would take our place? Shameless scum who rob and kill to their heart's content? Bastards who accept mutants into their gangs and pray to the archenemy? There have always been outlaws on the ship. You're better off with outlaws like us who don't go too far and who keep the heretics down. Who are you? The Hard Nines, a gang. A brotherhood from Transport Bay 9. Don't think we're parasites. We do our bit for the prosperity of the ship. We're sort of, assistants to the Enforcers. Self-appointed. We make sure that order is maintained in compartments where the Enforcers are too lazy or greedy for bribes. We put a stop to robbery and free thinking, and well, we accept a small contribution as a show of thanks. Why do you want my weapons? Are you going to rebel? To do business, the gang leader smiles ingratiatingly. We're no rebels. If any blasphemes against your lordship, we call the troublemakers to order, and we shed blood for the flagship without fear. I suppose that makes us defenders of the ship? The thug raises an eyebrow questioningly and looks at you expectantly. You obviously do not expect anyone to be here. Are the Enforcers providing cover for you? I wish. Fresno, the newly appointed captain, had our informant strung up. He's tightening the screws. Damn it, we can barely breathe. Today's the last time we'll come to pick over this compartment. You all have your little fingers cut off. What does it mean? It's our gang's initiation rite, a fine tradition. By voluntarily removing a finger, the newcomer shows a determination and willingness to join us forever. It is also a badge of honor. Probably shows off the stump of his little finger. I suppose you may be of some use. I shall permit you to take a few of the more basic weapons and leave. Serve the ship well. Threshall grits his teeth and impotent in the face of your choice. One day I will realize the depth and wisdom of your decisions, Lord Captain, but in the meantime, I will pray that this act does not come back to haunt you. Hear that, boys? Lord Captain himself is expecting good things from us. We can't let him down. We will fulfill your command to the letter.
One step at a time amidst the madness. How intriguing. What lies beyond?
An old man in beautiful rag listens intently to the sound of your footsteps. A sticky piece of cloth is wrapped around his eyes with greenish pus oozing out from under it. The old man lays his trembling hands protectively on the heap of junk that serves as his bed as well as his table. The empty beggar's mug makes a clinking sound next to his withered leg. Yeah, have something to eat. The old man ravenously sinks his remaining teeth into the meat's tough fibers, but soon gives up chewing and swallows the piece whole. Could this be a true miracle of the Emperor? Just another dream. What happened to your eyes? The void rats gnawed them out while I was asleep, and the sewer water of my wounds were washed with infected, turns out. The pain became a stinging feeling that wouldn't go away and only got worse. How does a blind man manage to survive in a place like this? People help me, good people. Not so good ones too. He sweeps his withered arm vacantly around the slum. The day the Lord Captain wandered into our slum will be remembered in legends. The broad-shouldered man raises his hand in greeting. His old prosthetic creaks plaintively, as it takes the weight of his body. The locals and enforcers call me the foreman. I have no other name. You might say I'm in charge here, in this hole of a place. You recognize the shaggy red beard and the keen black eyes. This is the man who was watching you during your encounter with the enforcer and station worker. And he's out to the people. You know who need them most. He opens and closes his mouth in astonishment. Lord Captain, you just helped some good families survive. I'll divide the cards among them. Be sure to tell them it was your lordship who did them this good turn. I saw you in the marketplace. What were you doing there? Watching one of my workers take a beating. I feel sorry for the lad, but there was nothing I could do. Vorman smiles wryly, showing his yellow teeth. Almost all the front ones have been knocked out. I've stuck my neck out in the past. I'm not doing it again. Tell me what life is like for the workers in the lower decks. They toil day in and day out for the glory of the ship. Most of the time they do their best to survive, faced with hunger, the more deranged of those enforcers, void leprosy, fires, floods, noxious fumes. The foreman lists these on his fingers, although he has fewer than nature's average to work with. In a word, it's a decent enough life. If you work, you survive. If you freeload, you also survive if you're clever. Well, and if the God Emperor wills it. What are you cooking in that vat? Believe it or not, the soup is made from mold slime and technical drain water. Has been simmering here in this vat for at least 200 years non-stop. See the growth on the walls over there? We harvest it, dry it, and use it to season the soup. If we're lucky, the smell attracts a void rat, and someone gets to have the meal in their bowl. The foreman points a finger proudly towards the vat. It's for those who can't even earn a ration card. I feed them in exchange for services or favors. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. My people keep an eye out for workers trying to eat 2 bowls in one sitting. One is enough to fill your stomach for an entire watch. Some complain about the taste, of course. Ingrates. You saw that soup. Let my servants see that any food is a great blessing. I don't think that's a good idea. Mold slime is something of an acquired taste. Takes 2 years, maybe 3, for your stomach to get used to it. Lord Captain, you must be joking, surely. Pour me a ball, I know what I'm doing. As you wish. Foreman hands you a bowl of hot, viscous sludge. The smell could be worse, probably. I'm going to be sick. Substance analysis complete. The outlook is dim. It recommends that you dispatch authorized units to locate an appropriate successor. The first spoonful comes the immediate urge to regurgitate the disgusting sludge. The heave is followed by dizziness, yet you stoically persist and force a slimy chunk of something indeterminate down your throat. The crowd is gawking at you, wide-eyed. Glory to the emperor, to the emperor who nourishes us. Your words echo in absolute silence, but last only a moment before the starving poor erupt into prayers to you and him, tears glistening in their eyes. The Lord Captain himself has tried our food and found it worthy. Remember to be grateful for any nourishment, as it is a blessing. The vermin bellows and roars while discreetly interposing himself between you and the crowd of ecstatic commoners, who look like they might otherwise swarm and accidentally trample their overlord in a frenzy of adoration. It's always a bit difficult. What's the thing the death cultists say? Your time has come, or what have you? Specimens before you must be the most repellent inhabitants of the compartment. They're covered in sores and bald patches glistening with pus, and the stench of unwashed bodies brings a tear to your eye. One of them glowers at you. What you want? I am Lord Captain of the ship. On your knees, insolent scum. Outcast look at another burst into hoarse, gurgling cackles. The Lord Captain, in our shithole, when I'm St. Juices and here's my regalia. Man exposed an armpit riddled with boils. Castle lets out a faint sigh, hastily covering her face with her hands. Gracious Emperor, why are we talking to these horrible people? Abelard attentively holds out a snow-white handkerchief to her. I fear, Lady Cassia, these are the many questions will be best left unanswered. Magenta lowers over the freak, looking immaculate and unaffected. Even meeting wretched heretics as this brings me joy. Wiping out even a drop of corruption is still a worthy deed. You detect a rare note of hysteria in the vagrant's laughter. The fingers of many are convulsively trembling. There's something fearless with the way they look at you, an indifference to death, too strange and unnatural. What are you, mutants? Invalids? Mold eaters, outcasts, folk who have no place among the lowest of the low. Some were born that way, some were driven out to keep them from spreading the contagion. The foreman won't let us near the vat, the enforcer tried to shoot us on sight, and as if it's our fault they were born with a terrible place. We are worms of the rotten belly of the ship, fodder for disease. Outcast licks his lips when you see a tongue studded with a small, underdeveloped teeth. This is no disease, but an obvious mutation. The longer you stare at the man, the more deviations from the human form you detect. Wretches such as this, disfigured by genetic abnormalities and disease, are perfect breeding ground for true corruption. For what crime did you kill this man? The crime of wealth. The dead bastard had rations and fuel cells. We'll trade them for porridge. You're sentenced to death for committing murder on my ship. Mutant bears his black stumps that are his teeth. We'll gut you and trade what you have for a pile of scran. Hey, outcasts! Come on up if you want a share of the spoils.
as honor ordains. I bring mercy and retribution.
To non-believers!
In this tapestry of a world, I am the rogue thread. Curiosity sings in my veins.
A figure in decaying tatters is rocking to and fro, muttering indistinctly in several different voices, occasionally breaking into a hoarse laughter. As you come closer, she freezes and turns slowly to look at you. An ugly rusted mask covers her face. Are you?
Care to take Zdena to the other side? No, 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 no. You're just wandering around in the dark, looking for light, but there's nowhere to be found. Do you not really see it?
There's a blood symbol next to you. I have seen such marks before. This is another part of the Song of Trailing Blood. Zdena burns into hysterical laughter.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, the song, yeah. Listen, listen. She wandered in eternity and dark, yet was consoled, web foretold. Undying one's blood secrets glowed, like light to guide her faithful fold. But threats must end, and so the spider did that we always owed, her life and death on the ship bestowed. The final test. This time they want you to make a sacrifice. If one were to interpret this entire mystical search as a repetition of Saint's journey, then the logical conclusion that you are supposed to sacrifice yourself to merge with the blood that has drenched the flagship from bow to stern. She laughs again, and you'll see if you learn to see. Look into the darkness, look, look, look. I cannot fathom what I meant to see here. You peer into the darkness and are gradually able to make out the outlines of objects hidden in the shadows. Rotting corpses, rough walls, the twitching death throes of infected people left to die. You see no light in this place, only more darkness and despair. You don't see, do you? You don't see.
Zdena shakes her head frantically and starts tearing off her rags. Strips off her decaying flesh, peel off along with them.
You will not see it. You'll become like Xena, flesh and the blood of the ship.
How do I become the flagship's blood?
Oh, Xena will show you, and you will see the true light. Come now.
There will be no peace in my wake.
The rotating blades promise nothing but a senseless and brutal death. Slipping past them would require some unreasonably precise calculations or blind luck. Listen to the air currents for a moment. You think you hear Zena's whispered prayers rising from the depths of the shaft. Jump.
One step at a time, amidst the madness. A tantalizing anomaly. What lies beyond?
A frail old man, grey beard tinged with blood, folds his wrinkled hands in a ritual gesture. His body is covered in scars, some old, some fresh. His eyes are sewn tightly shut, his mouth is cleft at both corners, making his jaws seem eerily snake-like. And the Lord of the Ark watched the paths of unlife. In footsteps of the web's very first spinner, the servants of death bowed before him. For the Domin is the giver of life. The old man goes still, his head turned to the side. He nods at the temple's muffled silence. Yes, yes, the truth like a stream pours from your lips. We welcome him as the tenets demand.
Your hues are almost as pale and grey of your beard, but what is this?
Cassia flinches, taking a shuddering breath. A scarlet whirlwind shines through the faded colors. A thin blade appears in the old man's trembling hands. Although his arms are stiff and look like they can barely bend, in the next instant, the dynasty symbol is etched in his forehead, dripping blood. With a brief motion, he flicks the blood off his blade, and several drops land on your face. The blood-spun web welcomes its new lord. I am the Vizier. For many years we have waited, and now you are here. We have waited. Whispers echo his words from the shadows. I have walked the path of the matriarch spider. What now? The song of trailing blood tells of a path fraught with trials. By accepting and setting out on that path, you pass the first one, the trial of resolve. For not everyone is prepared to shun their fear and doubt and embark on a search for the unknown. A search for death. The trial of compassion was the second one. You pass it when you put yourself, albeit briefly, in the service of another soul, a man suffering from burns. For the choice between life and death is to be made only by those willing to take responsibility for the pain of another. The third was trial of justice. Assuming the role of a judge of an apostate of our faith, you declared your right to influence the balance of life and death that the errant soul had upset. The fourth was a trial of duty, for duty always leads to death. We are prepared to render our duty unto the Undying One, fearless and accepting of our purpose, which is to serve him. You too have proven yourself prepared. The 4 trials have brought you here. The path I have walked has helped me understand myself better. But the tenets teach us that the lesson learned is in itself the supreme reward for one who is open to self-discovery. The Vizier's soon-shut eyes seem to peer into your face, studying it. Then he turns away and speaks to an empty space again. Peace, my brother. The time has almost come. So his conversation is another test, I imagine. A smile graces the Vizier's bluish lips. The tenets command us to be prepared for all trials, corporeal and spiritual alike. Are you prepared, Domin Nero? His mouth closes, but you can still hear his whisper. A prickling sensation in your face is making you increasingly anxious. You raise a hand to your cheek only to realize you can't feel it. You look at your palm and see a few sponge drops of blood from the Vizier's blade. A strange, serene calm envelops your body. Your fatigue subsides and you seem to float in the air, seeing things you had not noticed before. The shadows in the corners taking on a shape and color. The subdued lumen light playing on the cultist bone masks. Are they really masks? Their tall, lean, empty-eyed wearers might as well be dead people. A chill runs down your spine. Look around the temple. One moment the walls of the Death Sanctum grow infinitely wide. The next, they are so narrow as to make it hard to breathe. The floor dances under your feet, and the Undying Emperor statue seems to shake its head threateningly as it looks down upon you. What is the meaning of this? You tend to ask a question only to find out the seemingly simple idea that you had in your mind has eluded you. Instead, you are now reflecting on who it decides the fate of man, of human, in this world. Whether or not people are actually masters of their own free will, since everything is ruled by the will of the Undying Emperor. And what happens now? That is for you to tell me. Look at the Vizier, and his trembling frame seems small and insignificant. A single step is all it would take to crush him. But the visions are starting to wear off, and now the old man towers over you. The keen gaze of his sealed eyelids is studying your every movement, waiting for a response. Now you're going to initiate me as a servant of death. A servant of death. 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 Hiss the echoing whispers from the temple. The Vizier bows his head reverently. You have become the blood of the flagship. You will now become one of his faithful servants. We may not name you a spinner, for a spinner's thread demands the forsaking of one's previous life. But the blood-spun web will still accept you. The tenets allow it, but only for a domin who has followed the trailing blood until the end. Upon the ritual platform at the undying Emperor's feet, under the keen gaze of his dark, empty eye sockets, you feel completely insignificant. Surprisingly, the thick blood pouring from his hands onto your brow, chest, shoulders is still warm. Bowed before his image, the Vizier assumes ceremonial postures with incredible ease, his withered body moving swiftly and soundlessly. You are slowly plunged into darkness to the sound of ritual chants and whooshing blades. Amid the noise of splashing blood and the cultist whispers, you hear the words, Death has spoken your name, Dominero. Death accepts you. Offer a prayer to the undying Emperor. Each word consecrated to him echoes in your temples and chest. Your veins become hot. Your blood turns to liquid flame. You have no fear in you. A whisper seems to come from above, from the Emperor's lips of stone. I see you. Would the lingering intoxication be playing tricks on your mind? A strange rash you develop in the freight line's pestilence grows pale and scabs over. A healing grace descends upon you. The Vizier's voice grows suddenly thunderous and snaps you out of your reflections. Death has accepted you, Domin Nero. Now for all time you are Blood Warden, and the Undying One's most venerable servant. A strange whisper brushes against the edge of your hearing. You cannot make out the words spoken by this infinitely distant yet infinitely powerful voice. You are not even certain whether you actually heard something or imagined it. It felt as if the God Emperor was watching me. Too many. He comes during their time of service, in images of blood and whispers from the shadows. But remember that those are mere visions, for true death will not come for you until your time. It will take your soul gently in its bony hands. So the ritual is complete? The ritual is complete, but you are not. The Vizier gestures for one of the cultists who is carefully holding a strange garment to come closer. For years we have maintained fealty to the Domini. We have collected sacred symbols and relics. You are the first in 3 generations of lords and ladies to grace this sanctum, and the first of them to be initiated so. We are grateful. We are uplifted in spirit. Hear our exaltation, and accept this gift of a vestment sewn from the bones of his faithful with the threads of death. What's this thing do? The cultists whisper prayers to the Undying One as they help you change your clothes and regain your faculties.
This failure shall not define me.
A spinner, his face covered in carved bleeding glyphs, makes a respectful gesture of invitation. Let me show you the way, Domin. Shooby-dooby. Captain Fresno has acquired a few wounds since your last conversation. Half of his ear is gone. You notice that he is wearing a bloody bandage under the uniform. Seeing you quickly, he injects himself with a stimulant and straightens. How may I serve you, Lord Captain? Were you in a shootout? Yes, there's been a raid on a local gang. While they cleared out the scoundrels who were smuggling goods to neighboring compartments, no one escaped. Enforcers have been appropriating ration cards from workers returning to their ships. Why is that? Are you short on provisions? The compartment has just enough food to avoid starvation, Lord Captain. This is why the enforcers are making sure that no serf has more cards than they're supposed to. They used to rip out the people's tongues for it, but I reduced the punishment to simply beating them thieves with confiscating all their cards. Also to give the cards to workers who are starving due to a lack of work shifts. Not that it helps them much, but it's better than nothing. Are the enforcers guilty of misappropriating the confiscated items? Yes. Do those caught stealing receive severe punishment? Absolutely. Came across a drawing of a worker with a red mask. What does it mean? It's a figure of local legend known as Nemesite, protector of the poor and the oppressed. Ever since I was a child, desperate people have been drawing his portrait on the walls, hoping to summon a defender to punish those who wrong them. We've had 13 or so fools calling themselves Nemesite over the past 5 years. We've disburdened ourselves of them, just to be sure. I find these sentiments disconcerting. Stay vigilant, Fresno. Always, Lord Captain. I was attacked. Who dared? I encountered mutants in the Pestilence Pit. They seem to be under the influence of unholy powers. You went to the Pestilence Pit? You into the Pestilence Pit? Fresno stares over the distance as he speaks. Pardon me, Lord Captain, I just can't even begin to find the words I would use if I had to tell Master-at-Arms that you had perished in there. He rubs his temples wearily. The enforcers do regular checks to see if there are any dangerous, blight-stricken rejects hiding at the bottom of the bay. I implore you, Lord Captain, leave this job to us. I have finished inspecting this bay. Will there be orders based on the inspection's conclusions? Understood. You said fast in your duty, Captain Fresno.
They will see. Oh, yes, indeed. They all will see.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for me for now. I'm going to take a break. I need to have dinner and all that good stuff. Thank you guys all so much for watching. And if I've got the energy post-dinner, we'll continue. I'll catch you guys all then. So from me to you guys, till then, peace out.